Joining me now on set is Amy Walter, publisher and editor-in-chief of the Cook Political Report. Thank you so much, Amy.
So glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you here on a Monday to kick things off this week. So let's start right there. You hear the debate inside DeSantis' world, right, and the concern is he's not taking the gloves off soon enough. What say you about that concern?
That's right. And the concern was raised as folks were looking at some polls that have come in these last couple of weeks now, showing that Trump's lead over DeSantis has grown. Monmouth poll, a Quinnipiac poll. So that's where you see some of the hand-wringing. But what you'll also notice is that opinions about that Ron DeSantis haven't really changed at all. He still has a very high approval, favorable rating among Republican voters. So it's not like Republicans suddenly don't like him anymore. The thing that's happened is, remember, Donald Trump was at his lowest point right after the midterms because for once he didn't really have a foil. The reason his numbers were as low as they were was the disappointment with the midterms. And he obviously got a lot of that blame. DeSantis became a great fill-in. Now, here we are, all these months later, we're not talking that much about the midterms anymore. Ron DeSantis, as you said, he's not a candidate. So the attention goes back to Donald Trump, and people kind of go back to their priors, right? Like, well, maybe Trump wasn't that bad. Yeah, I do like him. I don't know, this idea about DeSantis getting out sooner or taking the gloves off, I just don't think that makes a whole lot of sense right now.
You think it's still early?
I think it's so early. Yeah. And the debate is going to really, this August debate and how many we have post-August, that's going to be critical. I was just going back and looking at polling from 2015. You know, going into that first debate in August of 2015, Trump was coming up in the polls a little bit, but really not making much of a dent. After that debate, he was leading, and he really never looked back after that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this time, but DeSantis has to prove that he can take the hit, and there is a lot that's going to be riding on that debate.
Well, I think you raise such an important point because there on the debate stage, that's right, where you see the contrast. Frankly, is DeSantis able to counterpunch? That's right. And is he able to draw a contrast from a policy perspective,
Absolutely,
right? Because we haven't really seen that yet
Absolutely.
From DeSantis.
Is he able to capture the imagination of voters? Right now, we hear in focus groups, we see in polling, voters who say, Republican voters who say, you know, I like Donald Trump. He was a great president, but I just don't think he can win. I don't know. I know a lot of people would never vote for him. Ron DeSantis, he's young. He looks like he's Trump, but who's a little more disciplined. Let's give this guy a try. So they've got to test him out. And then there's the question, as you pointed out, of what about another candidate?
Right.
That's not named one of those two.
A lot of candidates circling the wagon. Sununu, Tim Scott. I mean, you have all of these people who are visiting.
Chris Christie's going
voting.
to New Hampshire this week.
Yes, exactly. So what about all of those other potential candidates? Where do they stand, and how much urgency is there for them, one of the candidates who's not right now one of the top two in the polls, to get in?
Well, that's part of the question. I heard Governor Sununu a couple weeks ago say something like, you know, it'd be fun to be up on that debate stage. Right? So you can get as far as whatever it's going to take to hit the threshold to be invited to come onto the debate stage. See if you can sort of stand in there, make some sort of distinction there. As DeSantis and as these worries about DeSantis become more public and these stories about the hand-wringing and the polling, I think you're going to see a lot of other folks start to test the waters.
Can you give us your perspective on this conventional wisdom, which is that Trump's legal problems are energizing his base,
Right.
that they actually help him out ultimately? How do you see this playing out on the trail? We don't know what's going to happen.
We
don't know if he's going to be indicted in any of the cases swirling around him. But boy, you talk about a foil.
Right.
And this has been a big one.
This is exactly right. This has been a perfect foil. And one where, once again, he gets all of his, not just the base, and not just the folks in Congress, all the elites and his potential foes, Sununu, as well as DeSantis to a certain extent, saying, yeah, that's right. This is a politically motivated attack. So getting them all on his side, which makes it harder then when other legal actions take place for them to come out and say this wasn't politically motivated. But you know what, Kristen, I'm starting to think that This may not tell us as much as we need to know. As more and more, as we go through this process, if we see something out of Georgia, we see something out of the DOJ, we see something else out of New York, the question, and this goes to our point about the debates, how does somebody like Ron DeSantis turn that not into a direct attack as Donald Trump, you have so many legal actions against you, but this guy has too much baggage. He can't win without all of these things. Making the case that this may be politically motivated, they may be doing it because they don't want to see Donald Trump return to office, but we can't deny the fact that this baggage is going to make it very hard for him to beat Joe Biden.
And it will be fascinating to see if that does make its way onto the debate stage.
That's right.
Amy
It'll be
Walter,
fun.
thank you so much. Really
Good to see you.
appreciate it. It's so great to have you here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.